I heard about this flooding, I didn't know how intense or how the situation is until I decided, you know what, it's time to take, road trip to to visit these lakes. And I wanted to know what residents are going through, plus what the situation is, because what we were being shown was just pictures and all that stuff. So when I went, my first stop was in Lake Nakuru, and then I left for Baringo the following day. And to me, I didn't expect Baringo to be that worse. So when I got to Baringo is when the situation, I just looked at those people living around the area, and it was devastating. I could not believe it. Given that I toured all the lakes, the situation is worse. And I think it might get worse if there's nothing that we do. Most of these people living in Rift Valley are fishermen. And if you look at Baringo, a bit half is fishermen, pastoralists. With this Lake Naivasha, fishing is the main source of livelihood. Most of the people living in the lake, around the lakes, depend on fishing as a source of livelihood, but they've also been affected. Like in Naivasha, fishermen are complaining. Why? Because most of what they were expecting the aquatic life of the fish they were expecting, the numbers reduced. So it means that obviously at the end of the day you'll not have something to give your family or feed your family with. So that's a problem. But also in Baringo the situation is still the same, because there are a few people who are doing farming and their farms were submerged. There's an old man, I interviewed him, and he said he used to live like 30 meters away from the lake, but for now he can't even know where his shamba is because it was all submerged. Now he's counting, he just stays at home, nothing to do, just depends on other people for survival. Absolutely, and this you'll see in Baringo. There's River Pekera. Pekera is one of the rivers that feed Baringo. And if you look at the water, the color of the water is brown, meaning upstream there's farming. And that is one indication of the type of land is those people are doing as compared to people living in Lake Naivasha or Lake Nakuru. I didn't see anyone focus on the impact the water has had on these community livelihoods, the people who depend on this water for survival. That was the angle I decided that is what I was going through. That was for Baringo. Every lake I visited had a different angle. For me, Baringo was the impact the water has had on community livelihoods. For Lake Naivasha was the encroachment to riparian lands, which is a problem actually in Lake Naivasha. For Lake Nakuru, I wanted to do something to do with flamingos and tourism, because if you look at Lake Nakuru, most of these people visit Lake Nakuru because of one thing, because of yes. So for Lake Bogoria, the angle was an ecological disaster in waiting. If the water continues to rise, because the distance between Lake Baringo and Lake Bogoria is 17 kilometers. But with the rising water levels, the distance has reduced from 17 to 15. So if you see this as Lake Baringo is a freshwater lake, for Bogoria is salty. So you see these are two different ecological habitats. And if the situation worsens, meaning there's going to be a mix. I think you just have to be mentally prepared. When I went into this, I didn't expect to be that disturbed, because when I came back, it took me a bit like 2 days to get back to work, and I didn't expect to see. What shook me was the mother who I interviewed, and she cried the whole time. So to me, to see her just go through all that, I I was not prepared for that. So I think be prepared for anything. But as much as that, just carry your safety. So because I didn't have anything, I just had my boots and I went. So be mentally prepared.